You're welcome, Grazi.
It's one of the happiest I'd ever
I
seen.
owe you.
And we said, no mushing. You can hit, but no mushing. And of course, it was like she was winding.
Are you taking most of the fun away?
All right, so back to the subject for today. Today, we've got very interesting. Most of you are familiar with Matterport. And, you know, you used to have to, it's a repeat for some. And by the way, Mila, you didn't hear me before, but I love that picture that you had of yourself. The graphic, not this particular picture, but that graphic was very cool. But anyhow, Matterport does these 3D walkthroughs, and you're going to see all the technology. But clients can decide which direction they want to go, what they want to zoom in on. It's very cool. And so many more people in the last 2 years have got involved with it. So what Matterport did is it used to have to buy a big camera, this special camera, and then you'd have to push the button and it would do the circle. Then, you know, you had to pay a huge amount for the software to use it. And so what they came up with is, because they did so many millions of rooms and used artificial technology, that now they've got that to where the software can do all the knitting for you in short order. So you can go in, and you'll hear him say this, they'll show you how to do it, but you can go in and stand with your iPhone and just take pictures in a circle, then go to the next room, take pictures in a circle. It uploads to the cloud and does all the work for you. It makes a perfect, it's such a good measurement that such a good system that you can even use it to take measurements in the room. So you can show people what the house looks like on the inside. It lays out a floor plan, and that they have a version that you can use for free. They have a version that you can use for $9 a month, and you hang the things on the cloud. And then they have, of course, more expensive versions of it. But, you know, if you have, you know, just a few listings, it's perfect for using it for that, because it makes you look very high tech. So we're going to get started with that straight away. I'm going to open it up though. Does anybody have anything they want to add before we get into that? And has anybody used Matterport? Mostly we haven't used it because the barrier was price. Because not only did you have to have the camera, but you had to have somebody that knows how to use it. Here, you can do it on your iPhone or, you know, any type of phone now. So we're going to go there now and take a look at this Matterport. I got a message here from Doug. Oh, all right. Hi, Doug. All right.
Hi, John.
I guess that message came in a while ago. Here we go. You all can see this now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Do you see all the pictures with the people on the side, or do you just see my screen?
I see all the pictures virtual.
All right, I'm going to collapse that because I want you to be able to see and Gladys just joined us. Hi, Gladys. All right, so I've moved it down a little bit so we get through with some of their chit chat.
Fantastic. Hey, Nick, thanks so much for doing this. You know, you geek out on a lot of stuff. You fly drones and, you know, 360 tours. And in this case, this Matterport you recorded. So I've got it up on the screen right now, and we're just sort of panning around the living room here. And frankly, it looks fantastic. But there's something a little bit different about this Matterport than our users may be used to seeing. And what is that? What's the difference here? How did you record this Matterport?
Good question. This one was done actually on my phone.
That's crazy.
Completely on my phone.
That's crazy. I mean, a lot of you listening, right, probably have looked into Matterport, and many of you probably have purchased, you know, Matterport services. Some of you I know actually own a Matterport camera. And Nick, right now, what's the cost of a Matterport camera?
The Matterport Pro 2 camera is $3,400.
$3,400. And you shot this on your phone, and I will tell you, you know, and we were just discussing this, right? I mean, you know photography, you nerd out on this stuff. I do too. I'm not any good at it, but I can appreciate it. And I looked at this, and the quality of this, frankly, is exceptional, and it's probably imperceptibly different than the Pro version for a consumer. And now it's available in the palm of your hands, in essence, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is a big step forward for Matterport. And after knowing some people over there and speaking to them for a matter of years, trying to find a way to find a partnership, this has kind of been their true north since they started as a company, which is make 3D tours accessible to all. And I gotta say, Randy, I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. The quality is excellent. The interface is strong. It's really simple and seamless. And the product that it puts out on the back end, like you said, is every bit true to life Matterport. It feels like a tour. It has all the same features and bells and whistles. There's very little sacrificed and lost between the phone version and the hardware version. I think it's a great step.
It really is, and I'm showing it on the screen right now, along with your face, Nick. Right, so it's got all of the basic features, right? So you can do your floor selector. You can pick, in this case, the first floor or the second floor. You can jump into any of the rooms. You can even do the room measurements, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, the way that Matterport was able to do this is they've been running every tour through their algorithm for years and years, and actually using machine learning to figure out how to take images and map them out appropriately. They've only really been able to do this because in conjunction with the images you get from their camera, they were getting laser measurements. So they were able to pair them up and kind of have the computer sub.
I'm going to stop it for a second. You just saw a picture of somebody in the room. Her back was to the camera, but you could actually, if you had someone to assist you, they could do that one circle for you. You could actually be standing in that room. They could see you because remember, I always say you are the brand. So we would want to actually put you inside the Matterport as well. But you don't have to have a script to talk about it. All you have to do is smile.
Us out the size and depth of rooms. Now that they've had enough, I think over 1 million tours generated through there, they can take just the images from your phone. And I believe the precision for an iPhone is within 3 or 4% of true to life measurements. So still really, really accurate.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? On Monday, Nick, I had AJ on. We were talking about a little bit of the future, and if not now, right, later this year, the iPads are going to come with LiDAR built in. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, the new iPad is the first ever portable consumer electronic with LiDAR, which is great.
That's amazing, right? So just so we're clear, right? Why don't you talk about? We've got a few options. You got the Pro camera, you've got a 360 camera, you've got your mobile phone. So what are some of the trade-offs between those three options if somebody wants to do a Matterport?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think to start, Randy, as always, you get what you pay for. So, my intent here is not to speak poorly on the Pro 2 camera. It's a really, really solid piece of tech, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It takes high quality images, it takes a lot of them. It stitches them into 130 megapixel sphere, which for reference is more than 10 times the resolution of an iPhone photo. And it actually does something called bracketing. So it shoots an underexposed version, a properly exposed version, and an overexposed, and overlays them in a way to create an image that's really, really stellar. So the quality you get out there is excellent, and the precision when you're measuring room is excellent. However, it's rather expensive, and for a lot of agents and consumers, it's probably outside of their budget. You then have the 360 cam, which is a standalone camera that uses a spherical lens to capture a 360-degree photo. That was kind of the intermediary step between something with lasers and something that shoots flat images like an iPhone. And that's a great setup for people who want something that's a little bit simpler to use, maybe than the traditional Pro 2 camera, and are willing to sacrifice some of the precision for measurement and depth perception. Those cameras are quick and easy. You put it on a tripod in the middle of the room, you walk away from it, use your phone as a remote, you hit scan, and they're fast and reliable. And now finally, as of last week, you have your iPhone. And the way that it works on the interface, Randy, is you stand in the middle of the room and you aim your camera at one wall and it shows a dot. You line your circle up on your phone with the dot, scans it, and then it tells you to move your camera up and down. And you do that about maybe 10 times in a circle, and then it will stitch all those to a sphere. So you have the three options from a user experience standpoint. The first two, the Pro 2 cam and the 360 cam, are maybe the simplest to use as far as actually capturing. But once again, the best camera is the one that's in your pocket, which is usually a smartphone. So if you prefer ease of use and you don't mind a little bit of quality loss, iPhone has really produced a great tour.
So then again, so we're clear, right? If you invest the $3,500 into the Pro 2 camera, you're going to get really high quality Matterports, obviously, but you're also going to get really high quality stills. So you actually, in essence, replaces having a photographer come in. And because of the bracketing, you're going to get these really nice quality HDR photos. So, there's some advantages there, but obviously there's a trade-off in cost. Now on the iPhone, are you able to get stills as well, or you just get the Matterport tour?
You can always cheat stills out of it. So you can open up Matterport tour and take a screen grab. Fact of the matter is it's not a native function of using the iPhone interface generator tour. So it's not going to be nearly as high resolution as when you use the Pro 2 camera, but it's definitely possible.
That makes sense. Interesting. So Nick, you were kind enough to actually fire up the app here. So if you don't mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull you up, I'm going to pull the app up, and I'm going to have you sort of give everybody a little bit of a tour of how the app actually functions and frankly, how easy this is to do. So
sure,
you're up.
Great. So as everyone can see here, the home screen, this is the Matterport Capture app. And the home screen is really simple. You have an option in the bottom right to add a new tour. And then you have a collection of tours that you have taken previously. The one you can see on your screen now is the 500 Quail's Nest Court tour. That's my parents' home in Roseville, California. And this is the first capture I did last week. I'll open that up to show you what the interface looks like. What you can see here is you can actually see the first floor of my parents' house from an aerial view. Each one of these numbered dots is a location that I did a scan, which once again, I stood in that spot. I held up my phone. I snapped a series of pictures as it guided me through. I spun around in a circle and did that a handful more times. And that creates one of these spheres. You can see here in these spheres, I have a preview of it in the app. That is just one location, which just pans in a circle. And I have a whole bunch of them. Now, the great thing about Matterport, and one of the reasons they got market share early, is their algorithm for stitching together these photos is best in class. So I don't need to tell the app where I was when I took the photo. I just need to take scans that are sufficiently close that Matterport can recognize the images in them and tie them together using the actual photos rather than any extra information I need to feed the system. A couple things you can see here, interestingly enough, is in this area, you see all these scattered lines of light inside of this black frame. What was happening there is I was actually scanning on the landing between the two floors of my parents' house. And it was actually shooting between the rails for the stairs. So you can see how the camera had perspective through the rails and measured more depth between them, but also wherever the rail was blocking the light, you couldn't see past that. So that gives you an idea of how the system works. Anything the camera can see, it can then map out and create a 3D spot for. And anything the camera can't see is going to continue to be kind of an unknown area, not part of the tour, like anything beyond the edges of these walls. The last thing I think I want to point out here, Randy, is you see these little markers all along that say inside and have that little box pattern. Those are windows. The only manual step you need to do besides scanning is you need to label windows and mirrors, which is actually really simple in the app. And that helps the camera figure out what to do with images that are not quite normal. Mirrors and windows obviously give reflections. And if you're shooting into a mirror, it might think you have another room on the other side, which unfortunately is not going to help you sell the home. So when you label those things, it helps the app figure it out. All in all, Randy, for the two-story house, my parents' house is about 3,100 square feet. I did just over 60 scans, which might have been slight overkill. I believe the rule of thumb that Matterport publishes is that they do about 1 scan per 100 square feet.
1 scan, so you maybe did twice as many as was recommended. But you're always an overachiever, Nick, so that makes sense to me.
It certainly doesn't hurt to have more scans. It's just more data to deal with and more points to peer from inside the home. But in this case, I think it was probably a little overkill.
And so, I've pulled back up here on the screen, Nick, the actual Matterport, right? So I'm moving around now, looking at, the kitchen and the windows that you mentioned, right? These are the things. So when you take these photos, do you just basically sort of drag where a window is on the image so that you could instruct the software?
That's correct. Yeah, once you start taking the scans, it will build your floor plan. And then you have an option right inside the app to just basically hit options, add window, add mirror, and you just basically draw a line right on it and it will figure out the rest for you. So very simple to use.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Nick, all in, how long do you think this took you? And obviously this was your first one and it looks fantastic. How long did this take?
This one took me about an hour. I think a general rule of thumb is 1 minute per scan.
Okay.
But once again, that's because I scanned quite a bit. So A really simple way to think about it is take the square footage of the home you need to scan, divide it by 100, and that's about the amount of time in minutes you'll need to scan the entire place.
So that's amazing, right? So for a 2,000 square foot house, in theory, you could do this in 20 minutes. The software then does all the work, right? So it stitches everything together and it outputs this amazing Matterport with, and again, it's full featured, right? So you get everything right on your phone.
That's correct. Yeah, I would say there's some technique that's acquired over time. I took another scan after this, and there are some things to consider. For example, for tight corridors and hallways, sometimes it's harder for the scan to match up where it's at. So you'll notice in the app, if you scan a living room and then you walk to the other side of the house and scan, there's no point of reference to tie those together. So you always need to only move, within some visible range of where you started. But if you get that kind of pattern and technique down, it's really, really simple to do, like you said, about 100 square feet per minute.
Interesting. Now, one of the things that people probably remember about Matterports are those points, right, that you can click on to sort of walk through the house. Are those defined by the scans that you take? So if you do more scans, you get more points, or does that happen automatically?
Yeah, so those are scan points. So that's exactly right. However many scans I take are points where you could stand in the house. And those are great because they give you perspective. If you went into a bedroom and scanned on one side and you didn't on the other, then no one could stand on the other side and perhaps see the closet that might be just behind you.
Right.
So the more the better, definitely. But for most cases, 2 scans in a bedroom is sufficient. 3 to 4 scans in a living space is sufficient. And the rest from there is pretty easy to stitch.
Now, Nick, let's talk about equipment. Let's talk about price, right? So, so everyone's clear, this was shot on an iPhone 11 Pro. Is that right?
That's correct.
And did you shoot it? For those of you who don't know, the iPhone 11 Pro, like a lot of the newest cameras, have multiple lenses. So there's a 2x zoom lens, there's a 1x lens, and basically a wide angle. They call it half X, I think. So did you shoot these on 1x or wide angle? How did you record these? And is there a recommended approach?
Yeah, so if you have a wide angle lens, a half X, as Apple calls it, Matterport defaults to that. And that's only because it cuts down the amount of scans you have to do. For example, for any vertical segment of a 3D scan, when you're using the half X lens, you scan once in front of you, once up at about 40 degrees, once down at 40 degrees. If you have a more zoomed in lens, like a 1X on maybe an older version of the iPhone, you're probably going to have to do 4 vertical scans to capture a full 170-ish degrees of data that Matterport needs.
Okay.
So the new iPhones will make it maybe just a little bit quicker. If you have an older one, you should be able to achieve the same effect, but with a few extra scans. And they don't give you the option to swap between them. So that's kind of nice for simplicity's sake, that it just defaults to the one that's going to give you the best output.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, just to nerd out a little bit more here, Nick, right? So last Friday, we had a video where I reviewed a gimbal, which is just such a great device. And gimbals do panoramas, and it's actually fun to watch. You push the button, and then they move in all of the angles. And you talked about 360 cameras and how they do the rotation directly. Do you know, are there any gimbals that work with Matterport, or maybe not yet?
I haven't seen any yet. So the Matterport Pro 2 camera has actually a built-in rotation engine in there. And since it has 3 lenses that are angled in different directions, it doesn't need to angle up or down at all. So you put it on a tripod and it rotates on its own. Today, for the iPhone version, you actually need to do the up and down aiming manually by hand.
Okay.
And for the 360 camera, 360 cameras actually capture full 360 data without moving at all. So that's a single scan.
Right.
However, it's perfectly feasible, exactly like you said, to imagine that there's going to be some sort of integrated solution or maybe a partnership solution for Matterport that allows you to put your camera on a gimbal or on some sort of specialized tripod that will auto scan.
Yeah.
It seems like the next step in
it really does.
evolution.
I mean, clearly, the next step in the direction that we're headed is to just make this more and more accessible with our mobile phone, right? So very little equipment, you can do it on your own. The quality is, frankly, I mean, it's amazing. So let's talk about cost, Nick.
Sure.
Obviously, what Matterport wants, I imagine, is that every home in America has a Matterport, right? So it makes sense that they would be pushing not $3,500 cameras, but use your own phone and record an amazing tour. So what does this cost for our agents?
Sure. So Matterport actually switched their model to a SaaS model. I think about a year and a half ago.
We should explain SaaS for our audience here.
Sure. Yeah. So SaaS is software as a subscription. Software as a service, I'm sorry. So what happens is you pay a monthly fee for them to basically allow you to use their software. And that includes everything from capturing the tour, creating the tour using their algorithm, and then hosting it online for others to see. And you pay a flat rate per month. So there's no big upfront cost to buy the software upfront like you used to when you buy Photoshop and things like that.
Right.
Which is really great because it creates a low barrier to entry. And when Matterport switched that model, their tools became quite a bit cheaper as well. So actually, this tour that we looked at today, Randy, was 100% free. iPhone app that I captured on, the Matterport Capture app, is free. I made a free account, which allows me to do up to 1.4, and I used my iPhone, which I would have purchased anyways, so no additional purchase there.
Amazing.
If you're an agent and you have more than one listing at a time, or you want to keep your entire catalog of listings available for your website, you'll need to upgrade your subscription to allow for more listings to be hosted. So I think, Randy, the way that it goes is your first tour is free. That's your free account. If you want to have additional properties available, you can pay $10 a month and get up to 5 listings hosted at any time. So if you only want to keep your...
I'm going to jump in and we're going to pull up the price point. It's actually $9. He quoted at 10, but we'll pull it up and take a look at what the different options are, but free or $9 a month or more. But we'll do that at the end.
Active inventory online, for many agents, that's sufficient. They won't have more than 5 active listings on the market. They can keep them, and as they sell them, clear them out of their Matterport account and add new ones in. And beyond that, there are steps up. I think there's 10 for about $25, all the way up to you can have, I think, a couple hundred listings for a couple $100. All things considered, most people are paying $12.99 for Netflix. So considering how powerful Matterport is, and they claim to drive a lot more traffic to pages with their tours, it seems like a worthwhile investment.
Well, that's and that's the point, right? Is that we've been encouraging our agents seemingly every day on this show to get themselves out there, get their content out there in more ways, and allow people to explore properties, because you can get a really good sense for this house, right? So frankly, I'd love to move into your parents' house, Nick, to be honest. And I have a really good sense for that before I go there. So that saves everybody time. What do you think, Nick, in terms of keeping these things live, right? So great, you can have one free that's live at any time, but as sort of evergreen content that's out there in the world, do you think that's a good idea? Like, what would you do if you were one of our agents?
That's a great question. I'm a big fan. I mean, as you've alluded to, I love technology. So I'm used to spending money on it, and it's something that I enjoy doing. So it's both a hobby, and in this case, it'd be a professional benefit as well. However, I think for your average agent, having the $25 plan where you can have 10 active tours would allow you to keep your active inventory up for people searching and linking through from search sites. And I also think every agent has some showstopper homes that they've sold that they just love the design, they love the aesthetic, and it really helps round out their portfolio. So I think somewhere in the middle for most agents, it is probably a worthwhile investment from kind of a value standpoint, and would also help for the drive more business, get more leads stuff if they have their own website and their own branded content. A Matterport tour is a great asset to have to say, hey, I sold this, and if this reminds you of your home, I can do that for you as well.
I think that's a great point. I think that's great advice, Nick. In particular, given the price point, right? We're talking about $10 to $25 a month for something that, frankly, is pretty incredible, and we know is going to drive more viewership and more serious buyers into your property. So I think that's great advice. Nick, last thing I want to address here quickly is, I'm sure there's some agents who are listening who are like, oh, great, you got a tech guy on. This guy says it's easy, right? Whoop-de-doo. Is it, it seems easy, right? Like, I think all of us as consumers have gone on vacation and sat in front of the Grand Canyon or whatever, right? With a camera and just basically done this and taken a pano. So if you've taken a pano, you can make a Matterport. Is that fair assessment?
I think so. Yeah. When I was taking the tour of my parents' home, my mom was mostly concerned that the house was clean and well represented. So she was staying far away from me, making sure every room looked great. But my dad was standing right next to me, and he was fascinated with it. And he picked it up pretty quick. I don't want to comment and say that my dad is or isn't tech savvy, but he's certainly not an enthusiast like myself. I think conceptually, it's very easy to figure out. I would say the only thing, Randy, is that with all new technology, there are unforeseen bugs and things that arise. There was at one point when I was scanning when the camera just appeared black. I quit the app and reopened it, and the camera appeared black. And all I did was quit it and reopen it again. It worked fine. These are all things that will get worked out with time. I think what I would encourage any agent who maybe seems a little bit less than enthusiastic about learning new technology like this is be patient. Unplug it and plug it back in is still a great solution in 2020. So when it comes to your phone, if anything doesn't seem right, quit it and start it over again. And most of the time that resolves issues. Matterport has had great support. I think they really want people to understand and make it as easy as possible. So at the end of the day, with a free account, I feel like most people would be remiss to not at least give it a try, maybe in their own home. And if it feels something like, if it feels comfortable and natural to them, then absolutely invest. And it's a month-to-month subscription, so you're not locked into a contract. Now is the best time ever to learn new things, right? We all have kind of a change of pace here that allows for things like this.
And
Okay. So we're going away from them. They talk about the technology. What I want to do is pull up the Matterport site. And
Hey, Ed, put your hands on the steering wheel, Ed. Ed, you need to have your hands on the steering wheel. Drive carefully, buddy.
Arthur, I was in the car when he did that. And then he let me drive, and I did that. It was pretty cool.
I know, it is pretty cool.
All right, so any questions before we dive in to take a quick look at the prices? And we're gonna have Ed, are you just waving or are you asking a question? All right,
Ed, your phone is muted. Ed, your
no
phone is
hands on the
muted.
wheel. Okay.
Can you
right.
unmute Ed?
Any questions or comments before we get into the pricing model that they show?
I think this is
about
really
iPhone.
cool.
iPhone he was talking about. Can you use it on Android?
Yes, you can use it on an Android. Pretty much any smartphone will work. And again, it's based on the fact of using the artificial intelligence, because they've shot and put into their database so many millions of rooms with the hundreds of thousands of homes that they've done, that the system learns and it knits together for you. You just have to have a visual sight from one in when you do the next one. But if you figure 100 square feet a minute, 2,500 square foot house, 25 minutes, you're done. And it's going to be a branding statement for you. And you've heard me say this before, technology will never replace real estate agents.
Technology is amazing.
Huh?
It's amazing what they can do with a phone today, ain't it?
Right. Well,
Lord.
yeah, but technology is not going to replace real estate agents, but real estate agents that know how to leverage technology can replace the ones that don't. Especially here in South Florida, we have so many people that are looking to buy and looking to move here. They're doing it sight unseen. This is almost like putting them in and walking them around in it and positioning you as a technology leader as well as an expert realtor. That's what I
How
like.
can we test it? Do we need to enroll? Is it an app on the phone directly?
It's a free app that you download.
Okay.
So what I would suggest that you do is you get one for free. So I would suggest that you do it and do your own place as a practice. Then if you take that one down, because you get one storage for free, because they're going to store them in their cloud for you, right? So you have access to it. So you practice on your home, take that one down, and now you can go out and shoot your property, and it's still free. So you can try it, take it for a test drive, get to use it all that without paying a penny. Now, if you want to keep them up there and you want to have 5-6 listings up at once, that's $9 a month. And there's other models to it. But that's what I liked about this is you can take it for a test drive, it's free. And it's not a month-to-month contract. So if you did it for a month and you didn't like it, you could stop.
How do you spell this app? Metaphor or Matterport?
Matterport. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Okay.
That was my question.
Yeah. So
Matterport.
Matterport, M-A-T-T. You can, Google it and it'll pop right up. But if you're a real estate agent or broker, boy, this just can bring in more business. And again, it's a position, it's a branding statement for you. So you can differentiate. So all you have to do is fill this out and then you're in. You get a demo, they show you how to do it. But 95% of the buyers today say they want to see a virtual tour. Over 20% of the tours, and this number is going up, made without personally visiting the property. Okay.
Is that the first option when you put it on the store?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. The first option when I put it on the store. I don't know what you mean, guys. Clear, help me
When
understand.
you look for it on your Apple store, which
Oh,
of
when
the
you go to,
apps?
oh, okay, now I understand when you go into the app store. Okay. Yeah, you just put in Matterport.
It says metaphor capture or 3D showcase.
Look for the one that's got the logo that looks like this one down here on the right-hand side.
Okay, two of them, yeah, the first two. So I
Yeah,
don't know which
yeah.
one to use.
Download the free one.
None says a price.
Then download them both. But it's an all-in-one solution. And if you go through and look at the materials here on the site, it'll explain everything to you. But this is something that you can publish on your Google My Business page. You can share it on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can share it onto your site with homes.com. It's pretty incredible. It's a 3D digital twin for you. So it's really spectacular stuff. So they give you, unlimited, you get a 3D interactive map. They put the floor plan up for you. They do all that stuff for you. Now, of course, they want you to start paying $9 or $20 or whatever but you can do it for free to get used to it, decide if it's worth it. But for $10 a month to be able to keep 6 listings up at all times, especially, you put up your best ones. So schematic floor plans, measurements, photos, the whole thing is there for you. So, and people are using it. I use my phone, as it says right here on the screen, take photos of the property. Now I just pull them directly from my Matterport tours. So it can save you money, the measurement tours, rather than going back and forth to the property. You're going to win more listings. Imagine sitting in a listing and being able to say, here's a house I did before. Here's how we toured it. Here's how it sold. And I can do this for your house as well. So again, it's Matterport.com. Wanted to take you there. And let's go look at some pricing models. So this is the site you go to with Matterport.com. And yes, to answer Betty's question, it was available for Android. So, it's the world's leading spatial data platform. It's just that simple. And the pricing is also simple. All you need is a phone. So here's the free one. You can keep one forever. Now you can take it down, get rid of it, and put another one up. But you get one active space, okay? And it works with your phone. Now, for $9 a month, it gives you room to grow. You can have 5 active spaces being used at once. Okay?
Spaces, you mean properties or
Yes.
one room of
Yes.
each property?
No. Good question, Gazi. The space is the whole property.
Okay.
So you could have 5, it might be 1 that's active now and 3, 4 that you sold or whatever number you wanted to do. Now, if you're a big time player, someone like Shane would probably go a pro business and then you're up to only $69 a month. Again, there's no contract and it gives you all these extra special bells and whistles that go with it. So my recommendation to you is to check it out, sign up for 0 without stress, compare the plans, see which one's best for you, and put that best foot forward. Again, and I would emphasize, if you could, be in one of the scans. because that definitely brands you as a serious professional with incredible technology skills. And, you know, they get all kinds of.
Can you do like that and pick you up, or you have to be sitting at a room and someone has to take a picture of you?
Yeah, in this technology, you'd have to be standing in one of the scans.
Okay.
And standing still in one of the
Okay.
scans. You know, so you stand still for a minute. But, you know, people, I believe that your clients are going to love you for this. And again, it's a unique selling proposition. It's a point of differentiation for other people that aren't doing that, because people know, you know, with COVID and with, you know, the Omicron virus, you know, really starting to, it's starting to double every 2 days. Again, this gives people a chance to tour the property without having to physically be there. We get so many out of town buyers. This is a great way to hook them.
You could be standing with your arms wide open. Welcome home.
Or for some of us that aren't as attractive, you could turn around. And I didn't mean you, I was talking more about me. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. I also want to, I'm going to be sending everybody an email afterwards. And Brian Eisenhower has his new book coming out, and he would appreciate it if you would go in and give him a 5-star review. So I'm going to send everybody that link. And if anybody wants to hire Brian as a coach, you get $100 off a month if you do that.
How much is it a month?
200?
200?
For you all, it would be probably, well, you'd have to negotiate with them, because they do a special for us because we're one of the first ones in. We've been with them for a while, but I think it's going to be about, if you get you can do one that's every other week. It'll cost you $375 a month, or you could do it every week for $750 a month. Or you can just come to this class because you've got all the materials online. The START program has been very successful. We did it. We were the beta class for it when we did it with our new people. And now it's, you know, he's spreading that one out too. If you wanted to do the START class, that's $200 a month. But you all have all of that material in there. So the other people, everybody else is paying for access to the material and to have a coach to talk to. We already have the materials, and I'm an Eisenhower certified coach. So
Are you gonna post all the videos of all the meetings and classes?
I already have.
And where are they, on your YouTube or on Facebook?
On the Real Estate Coaching Dude YouTube page.
Okay.
They're all posted, and they're put with the date and what the topic is when you go into videos. You'll see them all there. And we had a couple that we had some technical glitches, but otherwise they're all there. And the great thing is that they're there, and it's not just like listening to the video with Brian. We're listening to the video, but you're also getting input from people that are doing it. And I tell you, Vera had some amazing input. And we get into what she's doing on Instagram. You know, Vera is Matt's assistant, but what she started, and she's got contacts from working in New York, but what she started doing is executing on the steps for the sphere of influence and referrals and all that. And she has already cashed in the last almost 5 months. She's already cashed over $4 million in sales, and she has another $6 million of referral deals in the pipeline waiting to settle. So this stuff works, but you just have to do the work.
Lucky Shane.
Huh?
Lucky Shane.
Yeah. That was one of my better hires, finding Vera. It took me months and months. I had over 100 interviews. And then when Vera walked in and we started talking, I just went, oh yeah, this is the girl. This is the woman. This is it. We were very lucky because she had been running a real estate firm in New York and moved down here with a partner. So she just saw the ad and came in, and perfect for us. And then she got all the training from Eisenhower, because there's great admin training in Eisenhower. So she was sitting in on those meetings. Shane just sent us a message. He's out at a seminar today. So I'm going to ask Shane to pick a number. Yep. We'll let Shane be the number picker since he's sending me messages. Hey, Shane, to help us, please pick a number between 1 and 12. ASAP. The number you pick will designate who wins the gift certificate, the credit card.
What else are you texting him, John?
I just
Pick number, pick this number, pick that.
You heard everything I texted him. That's why I did it by voice, so that there would be no doubt.
I just sent Shane a text.
Pick eight,
that said
pick
number
eight,
9.
pick eight.
Arthur probably did send him a text. I might have to change the numbers.
Told him to pick number 9.
He's
That
gonna
thing
pick
with the
number
chocolate
one.
cake was
He's
so
gonna
funny.
pick number 1, yeah.
In fact, we're going to get you out early today, but this will give us a chance to relive a moment in time.
I never got your email, your video from the, it's not even in spam.
But you got the one, right? So
I got one that you were talking about the meeting today, but not the one that you're
all right.
Santa
so then
Claus
I'll send-
helper.
All right, I'll send you those two then.
Who is that guy anyway? Fiddle?
Dorf Snitzerdoodle. He's the new player up on the North Pole. He's Santa's director of first impressions for this year. Let's see, client appreciation event. Okay, so let's get this up on the screen so that everybody can enjoy Graziella breaking the rules and smashing a pie into my face and then twisting it.
Now I forever owe Arthur a big one.
So Matt, there's Matt doing the drawing. And the old fake. You participated in our spring 2019 Sales State Partners Realty Client and Agent Appreciation Event.
Sorry, I got caught up in translation, I
that
didn't
was
hear
it.
that part.
That was it, said the lady that's the professional translator. But that was a pretty good event. We had a lot of fun. And we'll take a look at the first part of it because we just had a huge group out there. We had so many issues. There were parking issues out there. You guys remember we had the whole thing set up with food and petting zoo and Easter egg hunt.
Isn't this the one where you got me in the video sneaking up
I'm gonna
behind
let
you or
that-
something?
Here comes.
Next time I want to participate on the egg hunt. I think it's not fair. I could not.
Well, we had to have 2 egg hunts because the big kids would have won all of them. So we had one for the big kids and one for the little kids. Speaking of little kids, here's Arthur. He's figured out where the camera is.
There I am. There I come.
Wally, Arthur.
You got a friend in me. Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am.
All right. So, I want to thank everybody for their time. We don't have a number from Shane yet.
Call Vera. Lift your phone.
I'll put,
I want to see what you're doing.
I'm calling Vera and I'm going to put it on speaker.
Okay. I don't even know my number.
Oh, wait a minute. We just got a number.
You did.
Yeah, but
It's not mine. It's number one. It's your
Double
number.
winner, double winner.
it's number 8.
Oh my God! I'm gonna start being late at the
It is
meetings from now
Christmas.
on.
There is a Santa Claus.
So,
Arthur, you always win. I think it's rigged.
It's number 8. Is that you, Doug, again?
yeah, because Doug and I are so close and he's so
Yeah, that's
cute. That's
me.
why we pick him.
Lucky winner.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hmm.
You know what? Vera's calling and we're gonna do another number because it shouldn't do both. Okay, Vera. Yeah, sorry to bother you. We're doing a drawing and I wanted to have somebody that wasn't here pick a number. So if you would pick any number between 1 and 12, but not number 8.
Why not number 8?
No double dipping, no triple dipping.
No
Come
double
on.
dipping is exactly why. All right, so you said number 11?
Yes.
Okay, Gladys, are you still here?
No.
Nope.
No? Well, we did say
Here
must
to
be
win.
present to win.
So
Gladys, are
then
you
number
here?
8 wins.
Okay, sorry, Vera. Number 11 had left the building. So any number between 1 and 12, not including 8 and 11.
Then let's go 7.
7. Amarillo, are you still here? Yes.
She's back real quick.
All right, Vera, thank you very much. We won't bother you. We won't bother you anymore. Bye. All right.
What was
so,
my number? I don't even
So-
know what my number was.
Okay, so Amarillo, you get 50,
Woohoo.
and Doug, you get 50. Grazi, your number was
50.
6.
6?
Yeah.
I understood my number was fixed.
Her number was 4.
So, all right, so each of you then, all you have to do is get in touch with Matt and he'll give you the prepaid credit card for 50. We figured rather than trying to pick a place or bring a receipt, this would be the easiest thing. It's just 50. Use it any way you want. Lunch, dinner, breakfast, Christmas gifts, whatever you like. Okay? So
Booze.
we're 2 minutes past the time. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you got something out of that. Again, it's Matterport. Just put it in Google. You know, I don't get paid anything for it. I just saw it. I thought it was the greatest technology and so easy to use now because you can just do a whole house in 20 minutes. And I believe it's really going to be a method of differentiation between you and every other agent. Because you can now show that as part of your listing presentation. So, any questions or comments?
Doug, send pictures of you using your card up later.
He'll take his wife out. All right, well, thank you very much for your time. We've got one more meeting this year.
Oh, wow. More avocados?
I've got plenty of avocados. Unfortunately, the Christmas event, because of the Omicron and the COVID, we're having some serious thoughts about it. because it's just a challenge. So we'll see. But we've got the next Wednesday's meeting. There will not be a meeting between Christmas and New Year's. You know,
Okay,
between-
you're forgiven.
Well, we do that because everybody's traveling and, you know, we want you to be able to have the time with family and all that. And that whole week, I'm going to be here. But there'll be no meeting that week. And we'll have, and so we get next week and then the beginning of the year. Okay?
Oh, by the way, when I got sick, it was not COVID. So no.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Well,
Tested
I hope you guys
negative.
have a great time.
Yeah.
Just one last thing I want to say before you go. I had a friend come in and he wanted to say hello.
Hey, friend.
Over to you, Santa.
Hello.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Some of you are going to be getting individual messages from me. I'm working hard. My boy John has been great. John, you're not gonna get black coal this year. Okay?
Did you get my letters, Santa?
I didn't. You've been a good little girl. Santa will be stopping by to see you.
All right.
Merry Christmas. And I'll see you all, John, we'll see you all next week.
All right.
After that video that's coming out about giving Brian that 5-star review. And remember, come May, Brian is speaking right down in Isla Mirada at the Eisenhower Invitational, which I got to name. And there's going to be fishing and golf and all kinds of things going on. And you can make it a day drive or you can reserve overnight. But I'll
All
put
right.
that
And
in
you're
the
not
video
dropping
as
anybody
well.
on the water, are you?
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, Doug. Good job. Emerald, thank you very much. Congratulations. See you next week.
Adios.
Adios, muchachos.
Adios.